Alright, I'm going to try to start off with some Vectorworks basics filtered through Craft Design Studio accumulated print standards. So for starters, I guess a quick introduction to kind of some of the toolbars. Up here on the left you have the basic toolbar. If you don't know the quick keys, just kind of like ways to get to just the pointer, the hand for panning around. I don't really use that one. Things like text, just kind of writing text. And sometimes if you're in the middle of a command, just going back to the pointer kind of gets you back to square one. Kind of select something and hit delete to erase it. The line command, click one point, click another point, and it stops. Click one point, click another point. Kind of just going to do the overview. Rectangle, kind of a rectangle with radius rounded corners. If you hover over it, it'll kind of tell you what it is and give you a little more information. You know, circle, eyedropper tool if you want to kind of transfer attributes. I think this is mirror, and a lot of these we have some quick keys. Actually, I think it tells you the quick key. M is the quick key I've set up. I believe this is okay. Split, reshape. The trim tool, I've set it up as quick key C, so it's like cut, like trim, cut. So basic toolbar, the tool sets, you have a lot of different options for these. I really don't use that many of them at all. I use this one sometimes to do like dimension strings that are like at an angle. I have set up quick key D initiates the normal type tool, so I've got that one set up. You know, you can kind of pan down. This is where like revision clouds are and some other things, but again, I don't use this too much. This is a pretty important toolbar for understanding attributes. If you draw a line, if you draw a line or you draw like a rectangle, for instance, these objects have different attributes. So this object, this is the fill category. If you select it, you have all these options, right? You could have no fill, as it currently has, a solid fill, in which case you could pick a lot of different colors. It can have a pattern fill, and there's like all these different patterns to choose from. It can have a hatch, and for the hatches, there's a lot of preset hatches. And I don't really use some of these others very much. So same, this attribute here, the line type. You know, even a line, I don't use this very much, but even the line itself can have a pattern, which is kind of a weird thing I don't usually do. Normally here I might change the line type, and you can kind of pick right here different line types, dashed, different kinds of dashes. So anyway, depending on what the object is, this is an important one. The line weight, the line thickness. You can see that this line, it has a, well, you can see here it says 3/16. So if I change it to 1.5, you can see the line actually gets thicker. And I change it to 2, you know, it gets thicker. So here you can manually change the line weight. Although this note about class thickness, we'll come back to that. If I go to class thickness, it will actually go to the attributes of the class or the layer that this is on. So there's a couple other things. You know, here's where the arrows are. If you want to add arrows or take away arrows, a lot of times I'll add an arrow and then I'll go in here and customize the arrow to make it like a nicer looking arrow, like a little tighter, smaller. So this toolbar is important this toolbar controls snapping. So if I'm going to draw a line, I've got just hit the L button for line. It snaps because I've got these corner points. Here we go. Snap to corner points, intersection. So right now, if I get close to it, it'll snap to the corner. If I get close to it, it'll snap to the middle. There's a lot of different attributes. Like it'll try to hold to like 45-degree angles. If you hold Shift, it'll constrain it to just the more typical dimensions, like 30, 60, 90, I think. So that's important. This this down here, object info, is pretty important. If you kind of adding to the information that this toolbar has, this toolbar down here, object info, has quite a bit more. It'll tell you there's classes and layers. Those are pretty important. So this right now, this is on the construction lines class. So there's like a little dot next to it, and there's a number of different classes to choose from. There's other ways of looking at the classes, but for instance, this object, it's on the construction lines class, it's on the DD drawings layer, and then it has some attributes in the X dimension, Y coordinate. So for instance, if I start a new line and it's 6 foot 3 inches in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction, and you can either do it where it's going from, you could change this to where either it's X and Y, or here it's just a length and angle. So you can, if you want to draw something that's a certain length at a certain angle, here's where you would control that. But otherwise, I usually keep it here. And what you'll notice here is there's 3 different tick marks. Better test to make sure this is working. Okay, where is it? Oh wait. Gosh. Am I still making...